Fix tomorrow.
So Barnett said he only wants to do one segment, but I think we should try to squeeze two out of him because he loves talking.
That's what I figured.
So we'll just say at the end of the first segment, go, "Hey, Jim, can you hang out for the?" Believe me, he won't say no.
Really? Okay, but let's do our quick one.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. That way we won't have to bore him with the beginning part.
No problem.
Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Here we
I
go.
went to what was it? Soul Food.
Oh.
I got a po' boy, and they had that little sauce and it spilled. So I dabbed it. Hopefully that'll.
That's okay. It won't show up on camera.
Hopefully that'll by the end.
It'll wash off. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to the Warriors tonight.
Lucky guy.
Going to see the Timberwolves.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. Welcome. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Bruce McGowan, a longtime sports radio personality. Now, today's show is going to be fun because we're going to have a guest on we've had on a couple of times.
That's right. We're going to have Jim Barnett, a Warrior television broadcaster, talking about this amazing Warrior team that is setting all sorts of records this year on its way to hopefully a second NBA championship in a row.
Good. And I want to ask him because the NCAA finals just happened.
That was amazing.
Great game.
Great game, yeah.
And I want to ask him what he thinks about the performances that happen at that game, or just basically any NCAA final game. How much of that really impacts these players who want to turn pro? That final game, because it shows the pressure that they're under for that one game.
Yeah, how about Christian? Remember Christian Laettner back in the early 90s?
Yeah, against Kentucky. I remember that.
And he had that big moment and had a pretty good career in the NBA. Not a great career, but an okay career.
Yeah, and it's funny because some people, like Steph Curry, I guess Davidson's a little too small a school, was good, but he became great once he became a pro.
Yeah, well, actually, it wasn't that quickly that he became great. It took him a few years, and he had some injury problems, too, with his ankle. But now, geez, he's the best.
And you look at Michael Jordan, who was great in college and even better as a pro.
He was not happy after that game, by the way,
against
Villanova. When his Tar Heels lost to Villanova, and Roy Williams wasn't too happy either.
No, he definitely looked,
crestfallen is the right word, I think, for Roy Williams.
It's funny. I like the players, too, and it's like, they don't have anything to be ashamed of.
No, you lose in the last second of play. That's the way it goes.
And especially with Page hitting that.
Well, and also the defender was right in his face. That was a great shot.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so at each commercial break, we're going to ask a trivia question. And the first email with the correct answer is going to win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. And today's trivia theme is different trivia.
Oh, okay. We're moving around.
Yes. Okay. This segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money, still providing mortgage investments that are currently yielding over 8%. Check them out at pacificprivatemoney.com. Stay with us. When we come back, we're going to have Jim Barnett on Sports Econ 101. All right,
there you go.
Here's our first little to-do.
You need Jim's number, or you have it there?
I should have it.
You don't have it, let me know.
925-708. 9069.
There you go. You got it.
Sometimes I think he doesn't like me very much.
Why is that?
Oh, because he kind of teases a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
What are you talking about?
Jim Barnett. 708-9069. That's it. Yeah. Should be answering. Jim, answer your phone. Oh, boy. He's not answering. Are you going to stiff us, Jim?
Stiff us.
I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you.
Tell him to call back.
Yeah, but
When you are finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, Jim, it's Bruce McGowan and Edward Brown just trying to reach you to do the radio show. I'm going to text you also in case you didn't get this message.
We'll call you back in just a bit. Yeah, because you talked to him yesterday, right?
Talked to him today.
Or today.
Because Steve called this morning, his voice was terrible.
Yeah, a lot of people get sick.
Yeah.
You doing a little better?
Oh, I'm doing fine.
Good.
Yeah. Well, maybe you should try his home phone. Do you have his home phone number? I have it.
Here, why don't you go ahead and I'll write it down.
Okay, hang on just a second. His home phone might be better just because it's a
landline.
landline. Although when I talked to him this morning on the Hardline, it's not good. Okay, 925
Uh-huh.
254
Okay.
8636. And then, yeah.
And you leave, is it tomorrow for?
No, not until Saturday.
Oh, okay, but you're gone for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Sounds like waves.
It is.
Oh, you know what?
Got the wrong number
It's
here.
8646.
Yeah. You gave the wrong, you wrote the wrong number down. 925 254 8646.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Very good.
Yeah, I do have that.
All right. Hopefully we'll get
Sorry
it.
about that.
That's all right.
You can just call back to that other number. They could be on the show.
Hello?
Hey, Jim?
Yes.
Hey, it's Edward Brown and Bruce McGowan.
Okay.
Is this a good?
I didn't hear the cell phone at all, and I just called you back on my cell phone.
Oh.
You never answered either way.
That's
Oh,
weird.
okay.
No big deal.
Are we taping the show? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
So this will air on Saturday. All right. Thanks again for joining us.
Just got out. How was your bike ride?
Fine, but there was a big accident in Walnut Creek, so I just walked in the door about 5 minutes ago, and I went out to get my bike. That's what I did, but I didn't hear my cell phone, and I left it on. I didn't hear it at all.
Oh, yeah, that happens. Don't worry about it, man.
So there was a fatality accident
Ooh.
on 680 and Tree
Ooh.
Boulevard, and one lane is open on 680. You can imagine the traffic from Danville up to there. And from, I'm going the other way once I got on 24, but from Marinda all the way out, I mean, it's going to be a mess this afternoon.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
No fun.
Bad, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm fine.
All right.
I'm not dead like the other person.
Yeah. Gosh, yeah. Hey, every day I wake up without a toe tag on is a good day.
Got it.
Okay, here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan, my co-host. Bruce, Jim's with us, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Jim Barnett is the longtime television voice of the Golden State Warriors. And, of course, Jim played in the NBA for over 10 years with a number of teams, including the Warriors. And, Jim, right now, the Warriors are just having an amazing season. I don't know how you can put it in any simpler terms. They're just having kind of an unreal campaign. What's it been like being around this group all season long and watching this after they won the championship last year?
Well, it's interesting because they're just pretty normal about it. Matter of fact, they believe in themselves. They're not surprised by anything, but they are making history all the time. You know, they recently lost to Boston after winning 54 consecutive home games over about a 14-month span, and they darn near pulled that one out, by the way. And at 69-8, that's the best record in the history of the game after that many after that many games in the season. They've got to go 4-1 to set a new NBA record of wins in a season, breaking the Bulls' 95-96 team record of 72-10. So 5 games to go on that. They're still, now it could happen tonight, as the Warriors are playing tonight against Minnesota and San Antonio's playing. I know this show is taped later on and presented later on, but it could be settled this week whether the Warriors are going to be the number 1 seed. That's their objective. The first objective is forget all the records. They want to win another championship. To do that, they want the number 1 seed throughout the playoffs because I think they feel pretty confident that they can win a 7-game series when they're going to have 4 games on their own home court.
It also seems like they want to avoid losing 2 in a row. That's also one of those milestones that they want to get through.
Well, they've always responded whenever they've had a loss. You know, they won their first 24, they lost. Then I think they won 11 in a row. They win 7 in a row, and that's the normal thing for them. And now that they're getting healthier, Andre Iguodala's back. That helps them. They need him desperately. He settles the team down really well. But they're a deep team. They've got a good bench. They acquired Anderson Varejao a few weeks back. That's helped them a little patchwork while Festus Ezeli was out. They've got the best backcourt in the league. I don't think anyone will deny that. And the team has made This never happened before. They made 1,000 threes. Stephen Curry is on the way to making 400 threes this year.
Jeez.
After making 286 last year, 272 the year before. He just keeps breaking his own record. 400 is absolutely ridiculous, and I better stop talking because I know you have more questions.
Well, I was going to say, the fans around the country have really responded to this team just because of the way they play. People talk about the joy that's palpable in the manner in which they play the game. They really enjoy each other's company, and they play the game with this verve and this elan. It's fun to watch, Jim. And you've been around the game long enough to know that these kind of seasons don't happen too often, but also these kind of teams with this sort of chemistry are very, very rare.
Right, and so we all should revel in what's going on right now and take note and enjoy the ride, because it's like you said something about chemistry. Al Adams always said, chemistry, you don't know how you got it and you don't know how you lost it. Right now they've got that. Very, very selfless team. They move the ball. They've had, 30-some games this year, because there's so many numbers with this club. They've had 30-some games this year where they've had 30 or more assists, and that's always the goal. It's a team that averages 29 assists, so more than half the time they're getting 30 assists in a night, which is unheard of. Draymond Green, they had 3 All-Stars this year. Draymond Green this year, 1,000 points, 500 rebounds, 500 assists, 100 steals, 100 blocks. First player in NBA history to reach all 5 of those benchmarks in a single season.
It's amazing watching the team, and it's almost like they're trying to prove being selfless. It's like you see guys sometimes give up shots just because they want to throw that extra pass.
Well, it starts with Steve Kerr. He's the head of the snake, and he's got them playing that way. He handles everything so well. And then, of course, when you have your team leader and team captain, Stephen Curry, the MVP, he's going to win another MVP. The way he plays and his demeanor on and off the court, it permeates throughout the club. I can't emphasize that enough, that they've got a tremendous leader on the floor in Stephen Curry, and they've got a tremendous leader in Steve Kerr as the head coach.
I think that's one of the main things that I really appreciate about Curry is that he'll get hit in the head and no foul called, and he'll give a look, but he won't get completely upset and go ballistic like a lot of players.
No, that his demeanor is he's calm. He's I don't think, maybe he's a little introverted. I don't know. He's just not flamboyant. He'll get that flamboyancy a little bit after he hits a few threes or brings them back and stuff. He pounds his chest a little bit, but it's very short-lived.
Yeah.
And he keeps his emotions under control. And I say that on and off the court. He's a terrific family man. He's just very well grounded, and that comes from his parents.
Yeah, you never see him taunt anybody. Again, you get a little excited with the pounding of the chest or whatever, but that's nothing.
He never gets. He doesn't swear. He's always under control that way, and he knows that he's an example. He's the number one, popular player in the NBA today, and as Bruce, as you said, going around, it's unbelievable as we travel around. It's like traveling with Elvis Presley or the Beatles.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. I mean,
it really is.
Yeah.
You cannot believe the number of people that come to our hotels and stay in the hotel who live in that town just so they can get a glimpse of the team.
Is that right? It's kind of like, I guess it's like what Jordan and the Bulls were like, or what Magic and the Lakers were like. Same kind of thing.
There was a great story written by one of the SI guys about Ralph Walker, who basically is his security patrol. He's the security, and he's the agent, just like you would for the president. He goes everywhere Stephen Curry goes because he has to.
And Stephen Curry, of course, is such an easygoing guy. I mean, I can't imagine him upsetting anybody. If anything, I heard this story, Jim, and maybe you can tell me if it's true, that on the road recently, there was a child, some parents brought their kid to the game, and the kid had this desperately, was desperately ill, had some kind of horrible disease, and they made an arrangement for Steph Curry to meet this kid. Yep. Steph Curry gave the kid his shoes and then spoke to the child, and the child was so moved that he actually started crying a little bit because
that was in Miami. That was in Miami, and this happens all the time. Of course, you can't fulfill everyone's needs.
Yeah, really.
You just can't. You can't. If I go make an appearance somewhere, people come up to me and appeal to me that they, and not to make a drama, but gee, I have so and so. He's a nephew and he can't see real well, and Stephen Curry's his favorite player. Well, join millions of other people.
Yeah.
Stephen Curry's favorite,
Yeah. Yeah.
and take my daughter to the
No,
prom.
he could retire from basketball and just go
Yeah.
greet people, but that's not going to work.
Jim Barnett, one of the voices of the Golden State Warriors, he's the television analyst, and he's been doing it for many, many years. And Jim, you were with this team during some really down years. When did you see the tide starting to turn? Was it when new ownership took over, or was it the day Mark Jackson was hired? Was there any particular moment where you felt like, hey, we're finally turning this thing in the right direction?
I think when new ownership came, everything changed. The whole climate changed. The whole atmosphere in the office, and you're only as good as your ownership. And I'm not speaking badly of Chris Cohan. I enjoyed Chris. Things didn't work. I think he did hire some wrong people and put them in different positions.
Like Robbie Rowell? That guy.
One for one.
Yeah.
That didn't work well and wasn't. They
That's
lost
very
100
diplomatic.
in that era.
I had a number of issues with that guy.
So So when they got that changed everything, and Mark Jackson started everything with a new climate and started them playing defense. And to play defense, they had some success in the playoffs. They had a little run there back in the mid '70s, or excuse me, the mid '90s, and on. I guess at the turn of the century. I guess that had been that long.
Yeah.
But we believe that was 2007 and 8, so I guess that was only about.
I still wear that shirt at night.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, this segment went too fast. Can you stay with us for just one more? Because I want to ask you about the NCAA finals and players and how that goes into the pros. Would you do that for us?
Sure.
Okay, thanks. All right. Quick trivia question here. We're going to cut into a break. How many of Tim Tebow's 7 wins with the 2011 Broncos were of the come-from-behind variety? Okay, so he had 7 wins.
I bet you Barney knows that question.
Okay, well, don't answer it yet, though, but we
No.
want to find out how many of them were the come-from-behind ones. All right,
All
stay
right.
with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. We come back, we're going to ask Jim Barnett about the NCAA finals and players coming into the NBA. All right. Let me just say,
Don't ask me about Tim Tebow. I don't even know who he plays for.
Yeah.
And guess what? Now do I care?
Okay.
Jim, I just got out of the ocean. It was so nice out there. God, it was
I
72.
heard on the news as I was coming back listening to KCBS, and 8 people, I'm trying to think, was it this year, have died off the coast of Sonoma. They're going abalone fishing.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, I can
I
see
know.
that. That's dangerous.
A couple more people, and they go to this dive shop, and they're not experienced, and they rent this stuff, and they don't
Yeah.
go out when it's windy,
Yeah.
and stuff, and they don't get it. They don't understand how waves of surge and everything can take them. It takes them out to sea. And
Yeah.
like 8 people, I mean, it's
Yeah.
incredible. So.
Well, one of the problems is the way they make them do it. You have to hold your breath. You're not allowed to use a tank.
Right.
And it's like,
Diving.
come on.
Come on, let's be real
I
here.
know,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Let's hit right back at this. Here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. We cut to the first commercial break. We asked this trivia question. How many of Tim Tebow's 7 wins with the 2011 Broncos were of the come-from-behind variety?
5.
Jim, what do you take a guess? Anywhere from between 0 and 7.
Anywhere between 0 and 7, I would say 3.
Okay, 6.
6
6 out of 7
Wow.
were come from behind.
And this guy can't get a job anywhere. I can't figure it
Amazing.
out. I can't
Amazing.
figure it out. Jim Barnett is joining us, the voice of the Warriors. Did you have a chance, Jim? I mean, the Warriors were off the night of the NCAA tournament championship game between Villanova and North Carolina. I imagine you probably saw at the very least some of the highlights.
I saw the pregame show. I saw a lot of the postgame show. I taped it. I looked at it again. I thought it was one of the greatest games I've ever seen. I watched every second. It takes me a little longer to watch a game because I will roll it back and check out little
Yeah.
things and so forth. They do
Same
that
thing.
screen advertisement. I thought it was tremendous. That Page kid,
Yeah.
no one talked about him being an NBA player, but I tell you what, was he clutch in the second half? He was absolutely tremendous, and he hit that shot that tied up at 74 all. But then I thought they ran that last play very well, and maybe it was spur of the moment, but Jenkins was set up perfectly for that jump shot. It was dramatic. It was terrific. The North Carolina, the UNC fans, the Tar Heels, they're going nuts when it gets tied up with 4.7 seconds to go, and then it flips to Villanova. I don't think you could have any more drama than what was on display.
Yeah, well, I mean, who would have thought that they would go for a 3? I mean, I know they had, seconds winding down, but everyone was expecting, the guy to take up the ball. He was going to drive all the way. My question to you is going to be, in watching a game like that, how many, someone like, let's say, like Page, okay, or this guy Hart for Villanova, played so well that you you wonder, okay, now how much did that elevate them coming into, let's say, the NBA draft? You know what I mean? It's like, I know one game doesn't define a player, but you're talking about a lot of pressure and how they perform under pressure.
I think that NBA scouts peg people a little early because I've always felt just what you're saying. When someone plays big in a big game, and he's been, now you're not going to take someone who averages 4 points a game and all of a sudden he gets 18. I'm trying to think, is that Hart, the kid that got 20 last night?
No, he's he played well, but I think he's been playing well fairly.
I don't know all the names.
Yeah.
I don't know all the names, but I've always felt that good players and great players should always play well in big games.
Yeah.
And you got to get up for those games. And I know Buddy Hield had a bad game when they got beaten by Villanova after they beat Oregon, and when he made 8 threes against Oregon, and then he came out the next night, didn't even get double figures. But his stock is already there. If they think they're an NBA prospect, I think that they should get elevated if they perform like that on the show, on the big stage.
Yeah, because sometimes just again, just a fan watching the game, it's amazing. You can just see the talent. And again, a guy can have a bad game, but you can just it's amazing. Driving in between the big trees and that sort of thing.
Well, you've got to look at all the things, and I'll give you an example. There used to be the East-West College All-Star Game. When I came out of college, and I know that's I'm irrelevant because we're talking 50 years ago, and it's like someone coming up to me in the middle of my basketball career, and they're not telling me about theirs or whatever, and I say, well, when did you play? And I came to the league in 1966. So that's like someone coming in 1970, someone coming up to me and say, and I asked, well, when did you play? They said, well, I played from 1916 to 1927. Okay?
When they had the peach baskets up on the wall,
and,
right?
And a square basketball.
Yeah.
And so, I consider myself, I make a little light of it, irrelevant. But there was an East-West College All-Star Game, and people, UCLA had won a couple of championships, so they were on the map from the West a little bit. But before that, not at all. And, of course, Kareem was just coming in. He was a freshman when I was a senior, so we never played against each other. But I played in that East-West College All-Star Game, and I was the leading scorer for the West. I started, and I was defended by Dave Bingen, and I played really well against Dave Bingen. And I think you could all of a sudden then they realized how much quickness I had because I was going against someone who was a second pick in the draft. And, I fared well against him. So I think at that point, I was elevated from a second-round player to a first-round player. Now, you have to remember, there were 10 teams in the league then. There were 10 teams. So you could be the 20th pick, and you were the last player picked in the second round.
Wow. Hey, we're talking.
I think I got elevated just because of that.
See, that's my point. That's exactly my point.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it at all. You mentioned coming out in 1966, and one thing I love about Jim Barnett's career is that, sometimes you look at a guy's career and you think, gee, he was a journeyman, he moved around, he played for all these different teams, but you got to play with Rick Barry with the Warriors, Elvin Hayes with San Diego, Pistol Pete Maravich in New Orleans, Dr. J in Philadelphia, Walt Frazier and Earl Monroe, and then you broke in with Bill Russell and the Boston Celtics. I mean, it's almost like you were one of these fictional characters that some novelist wrote about. That got
that's
to,
interesting.
So I wouldn't downplay the fact that you played years ago because look at the players.
Well, look at the guys you got to play with, and not only got to play with them, but got to know them as people. What was it like having that wild ride with all of these different, big name athletes at that time?
Well, the league was so much smaller in scope in those days. I made $11,000 my first year as a Celtics #1 draft pick.
$11,000?
$11,000.
Wow.
$500 signing bonus. But we had no power whatsoever. When I went to San Diego, they talk about, back-to-back now or 4 games in 5 nights, and they talk about resting people. And I'm not going to go into the Oscar Robertson mode because let me tell you, these players today are much more athletic than we were when we played, much more athletic. So I'm not taking anything away. Stephen Curry might average 40 a game when if they had a 3-point line and he played, all of a sudden came down and played against us. I don't know because I've never seen a shooter like him, although Jerry West was a great shooter who averaged 46.3 in a playoff series one time, which is the highest scoring average ever in any playoff series in the NBA's history. But, we played 11 games in 13 nights. We played 5 nights in a row, which included, in the middle of the road trip, going coast to coast, both ways.
Wow.
Going both ways, gaining 3 hours. and then losing 3 hours on another 5-game. Well,
I mean, that's going to take a toll on you.
Well, you guys were flying commercial flights
We're
too.
flying commercial and stuff, and we didn't know any better. So it just was different. And when you're talking about playing with all those great players, it just wasn't as big a deal. No one, we were normal. You go to a game, if people had to sit through a game today, all of a sudden they brought one back and you played just like that, they'd say, this is sure boring, because there was no music, there's no fanfare, there's no hype, there are no radio shows like you're doing and promoting this all the time, 24/7 across the U.S. And everything is hyped up now. And when I'm talking about the Warriors, it's many times in a week, I'm talking about the Warriors about the same things, because everybody has something to say, and it's just there's a lot of hyperbole today.
Jim, I gotta say, I really appreciate your attitude, because unlike, you remember Bob St. Clair, the question is, they ask about, hey, could you play with these guys nowadays? And his answer was, no, because those candy asses play with us. And it's kind of like sort of funny, but I mean, the guys nowadays are much bigger and stronger than they were. Even now, Bob was a big guy, he was 6'9",
I remember Bob. I played golf with Bob before, and let me just say this:
he's a tough guy.
Greats of any era are going to play in any era.
Exactly.
And Will Chamberlain, I believe, would dominate this league.
Yeah, I agree.
Today, he's not going to be like Tyson Chandler, like some kid told me last summer. Oh, he'd be average, kind of like Tyson.
That's a guy who's never
Oscar
seen
Roberts
Will
could play.
Yeah.
Jerry West could play, and I'm going to tell you something else. I believe I could play. I was very athletic. I was very quick. I would have to play differently. I wouldn't be able to finish inside like I used to, because the defense is so different, and now they give so much help. I'd have to kick it out to the corners for someone shooting a 3. But I knew how to play defense. I was quick, and I was good enough. I think I could play just as well.
Yeah.
These people are better athletes, but I will say this: from the neck up, they're not as good, because we had better fundamentals, because we had to go to college for 4 years and learn how to play. And kids today, it's like we used to call it the Fennel Express generation, but that's too old now.
Yeah.
Also, it's not pertinent.
Yeah.
These kids today, they're not interested in delayed gratification. They want something, they want it now.
Want it right now. That's
They
right.
want it right now without making the effort of doing the work. So we were fundamentally sound. Sometimes these players today do things, I'm wondering, and Rick Barry will talk about this too, because he was an incredibly high IQ basketball player. These players today will do fundamental things that are not fundamental. I call non-intellectual plays.
Well, like saving the ball underneath the basket. It's too many times like that. But in fact, that's a good question, or that's a good point you're making about today versus years ago. My question is, I lost my train of thought. How much of it was a team game? Now, again, the Warriors are different because they play a lot of team basketball. But and in your day, it seemed like it was still more of a team game rather than the individual.
Perfect question, and here's how I can surmise that. Back in the 60s and the 70s, it was team offense and individual defense.
Oh, interesting.
Today, it is individual offense primarily, Warriors being the exception, and team defense. So individual defense isn't as emphasized as much. When I played with Elvin Hayes would say, don't let Jerry West go around you, because I'm not going to give you any help. and so when I turned the corner, and Bruce was around when I was playing, and I had a little play where I came off either the forward or the center on the right-hand side, and I hesitate, and I turn that corner and go to the basket. I only had to worry about the man who was setting the screen. Everybody else stayed with their man. So if I turned the corner on the right side, I didn't worry about the guy in the corner coming in. I didn't worry about the off guard. All I worried about was one man, and that was the man who switched out on me. And if it was a center, most of the time he was back towards the lane if I wanted to shoot a jump shot. And if I'd had a dependable jump shot, I'd been a hell of a lot better player.
Jim, hold on. We got to cut to a break. I wanted to ask you about zone defense. Okay, which country has competed in the most Summer Olympics, 20 of them, without winning a gold medal?
Ooh.
Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back. Sorry, Jim. I had to end it there.
That's the way.
That's going to be very awkward. Because, that's a very important.
I know. It's
different. It's the team offense, individual defense, etc.
That's an interesting. I never thought about that. That makes perfect sense.
I don't know about that either.
about the individual defense and the team on the defense. Yeah.
If you
Still
can.
going or am I gone?
No. We're still with you.
Yeah,
We're
no,
still with you. We're just getting
I'm just saving the file now. Yeah, actually, I'd love to if you can stay with just a couple of minutes, we can.
All right.
Okay. I'm just saving the file right now.
Man, what a beautiful day it has turned out to be. I
Yeah.
cannot believe this weather.
That's why I'm in shorts.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you.
I gotta wear shorts most of the time.
So your bike ride was pretty good, Jim?
Yes, it was.
All right.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, and
Away we go.
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown here along with Bruce McAllen. Here was our second trivia question. What country has competed in the most Summer Olympics, 20 of them, without winning a gold medal?
Mexico?
No, the Philippines.
The Philippines?
Philippines,
Oh,
yeah.
my goodness. Okay.
All right. So we have Jim Barnett on the phone. And Jim, before we let you go, I did want to ask you about zone defense, but then you actually hadn't finished off what you were talking about with regard to individual offense versus team defense.
Well, I just think that's the main difference. Today they give help a lot, and a player, it's not as important for Stephen Curry or a guard, whoever it is. I'm using him just as an example, to keep the man in front of you primarily. They direct him some other area. Maybe they make him go one direction because they know they're going to get help that way. Whereas my responsibility when I played in the 60s and 70s, I tried to keep Tiny Archibald and Calvin Murphy or Jerry West, Earl Monroe, Frazier in front of me. And that was my objective, is to not let them penetrate and not let them get into the lane and create. So, we had individual defense, more team offense. Today, you got individual players and they like to play individual offense, but they definitely have team defense concepts.
And there was a time when zone defense was around, and then they outlawed it, I remember.
Yes.
How does that all kind of come into play with what you're talking about?
Well, they've changed the rules on that at different times, and it's a little better than it was a few years ago. But, why not? If they want to play a zone, I think they should play any way you want. If you want to put somebody there in the middle, and you can make an adjustment to it, put in shooters, and see how long that'll last. I don't know why they have to stage it that way.
It sounds like it's just because people thought it was boring. I'm guessing that was the reason.
Yeah, there are more three-pointers taken every year. Every year.
Yeah.
The last two games, when you look at Stephen Curry, we're going to the three-point line. We know that.
Yeah.
Curry takes against Portland. Curry takes 21 shots, 13 of them are threes. Against Boston, the game they lost, he takes I'm trying to remember this, 19 shots, 14 were threes. But he made, by the way, if he took 27 of those, he made 17 in those two games.
Do you think they'll come up with a 4-point shot? No? How come? I mean, Steph could.
Extreme.
Okay.
Maybe a half-court shot.
Let me just say this, Edward.
Yeah.
They're not going to do it while I'm still alive.
Hey, you mentioned, Jim, you broke in the league in the 60s. You mentioned coming in with Boston. And Bill Russell was your head coach. What was it like playing for Bill Russell? Because he was still playing at that time, and the Celtics were in the midst of this great run.
It was fantastic. They had a great run. They won 8 straight championships. Unfortunately, they didn't win that year and didn't get a ring. But to play with Bill Russell and be coached by Bill Russell was very unique. The players knew what they had to do. We didn't have. I can tell you a lot of funny stories. I guess we can't swear on the air here. So.
No. No. FCC says don't swear, but go ahead.
Oh, I know. I mean, we didn't have pregame talks. I mean, we traveled so much and so often that, and played everybody 9 times, because as I said, there were 10 teams, so it was an 81-game schedule. Last year, there were just 81. And so you knew the teams. And so Bill Russell would always have a security guy come in, say 20 minutes before game time. And no one went out ahead of time and, shot 2 hours before the game or an hour ahead or whatever. So sometimes we travel so much you forget where you are. And so one time we were in the city and the security guy comes in, Mr. Russell, 20 minutes before game time. And he says, thank you. And he looked around and he said, who are you playing tonight? Baltimore? No, that's not right. Chicago? No. Detroit. Let's go out there and get this. And I'll just say stuff over with. Okay? Let's go out there and get this stuff over with.
Yeah,
we went out and we won 61 games. We were 61 in I think we were 60 and 21 or 61 and 20.
Wow.
I think we were 61 and 20 that year.
With the fact that you didn't have that many teams, you must have gotten to know these guys. Really, like you said, the guy you're playing against,
Yes.
you're going to know his play really well.
Yeah, that's why we didn't have to scout ahead. We played
Yeah.
so much. Everybody knew everything, and it was just about skill and what you're going to do and effort and all of those things. So, but Bill was very fair. I loved playing for him because, you know, he still would get on Sam Jones, who's been in the league a dozen years, and they were good friends. But he one time, I remember at halftime, he said, "Sam, you're not running," and Sam said, "I'm running, Russ." He called him Russ. He said, "No, you're not running." He said, "I'm running, Russ." He said, "Look, I know the difference when you're running and not running." And so the second half, Sam, you know, picked it up a little bit and got him going. But that was the extent of the coaching. You know, he didn't practice. And if people write this stuff down, it looks like I'm trying to demean Russell. Not at all.
No.
That's the way it was. But he didn't practice. You know, when I came here, Nate Thurman didn't practice that much. If he did, it was just go through the motions. These guys played 45 friggin' minutes a night.
Yeah. They didn't have to practice.
So Russell would sit we practiced at the Cambridge YMCA, and he drank a cup of coffee and read the paper a little bit, looked up, little men against big men. He watched us and laughed, and we had a good time. And when he was ready, he was through drinking the coffee and reading the paper. Practice was over.
How
great.
deep was the bench back then?
He brought in Wayne Embry from Cincinnati, who was going to retire as a backup center. He started Bailey Howell, but John Havlet, who they traded for. So their starting five was Casey Jones and Sam Jones, Russell, Tom Sanders, a great defender, and Bailey Howell, who could, you know, career average of 18 a game. And there was a guy off the bench you might have heard of him. He was pretty good. His name was John Havlicek.
Oh, yeah.
Never heard of him.
Hey,
Havlicek steals the ball. Yeah.
And Larry Siegfried was the first guard off the
Wow.
bench. Sometimes Havlicek came in for the guard, but usually the small
That's a pretty
forward.
good one.
So then they were 8 deep, strongly 8 deep when you talk about off the bench Havlicek, Siegfried, and Wayne, as I said before.
Wayne
Did
Embry.
they change the number of players on a team?
They did that year from 11 to 12.
Okay. Oh, okay. So
Okay.
it's only one extra person.
Another guy you got to play with who was, I thought, one of the most fascinating people in pro sports, and he never really he did win a ring with the Celtics as a reserve later in his career, but never fulfilled the potential a lot of people saw, was Pistol Pete Maravich.
Oh.
What a great player, and you got to know him pretty well too, didn't you, down in
I
New
played
Orleans?
with him in New Orleans and started in the backcourt with him that year. In fact, well, I'm not going to say that. Doesn't matter. I always like to say I got 30 in a game before he did, which is, you know, how the hell did you do that? Now Pete would be a better player today. He would be a bigger star today because he could handle the ball like Stephen Curry. He could shoot from long range for Stephen Curry shoots from, and he could not be as consistent a shooter as Stephen Curry is. He's a little more erratic. But we wouldn't let him play that way. Coaches wouldn't let him play that way. And the show that he would put on, the NBA wasn't ready for him yet.
Yeah.
So he had only a 10-year career, and he did not. Now, he was an all-star, and I believe he led the league in scoring 1 year. But, you know, he averaged 44.2 in college without a three-point line. So today, you'd be talking about, you know, let's say Kobe in his prime a few years ago, Kobe Bryant, you know, Stephen Curry, LeBron James, and Mr. Pete Maravich. Those are the people you'd be talking about. There's no question about it.
Wow. And then, of course, you also got to play with Dr. J, who was really,
Oh, I love watching him.
you just watch him play, it was like poetry in motion,
Yeah.
Jim, when you saw that guy make his move to the hoop. And
Yeah.
what a nice fella, too. I mean, I've
He
interviewed
was.
him.
I mean,
Real
he
gentleman.
is, I guess.
Yeah, real gentleman.
But he was a real gentleman. That was my last tour of duty in Philadelphia, and he was just a gracious human being, and I have a soft spot in my heart for him. And you know, he lost his child some years ago, and he and his wife, Turquoise, got divorced. And they were I thought they were a terrific couple. But Dr. J is one of the great ones of all time, and you know, you're naming all those players. 10 of those teammates of mine were part of that group of 50 greatest of all time.
Wow.
That's
Including my favorite, Rick Barry, who, of course, we always like to kid about Rick, because Rick is one of these guys, if you say something is black, he's going to say it's white. If you say it's brown, he's going to say it's green. And Rick is usually right when he argues with you. That's the maddening thing about Rick, isn't it, Jim?
Well, but you know, Rick isn't opinionated enough.
Well, the thing is, like Dr. J, he's one of those guys, like you say, he's nice off the court, but boy, on the court,
Whoa.
a competitor.
Yeah, something else.
Well, Jim, thank you so much again for spending all this time with us. We really appreciate having you on.
Edward, Bruce, thank you very much, and hope it's a good show for you.
It
Oh,
is.
Always
Always
excellent.
with you.
Always
Okay.
good to have him on.
Thanks.
All right, Jim Barnett. Yeah, Jim. I was lucky enough to watch him play quite a bit, and then it's interesting. The first team I ever got to cover, Edward, was the Warrior team that won the NBA championship. They were,
That's right.
a Cinderella team with Rick Barry and a bunch of nobodies, relatively speaking. And Jim had left the team the year before. They'd had Thurman, Barnett, Clyde Lee. Of course, they had Rick Barry. They had, Cassie Russell, and they lost almost all those guys. And everybody thought they were going to be terrible, and they somehow managed to. It just goes to show you, sometimes you get the right people, you bring in the right chemistry, and it happens. Yeah.
That's amazing.
But he was, it's funny because when you move around that much, you think, gee, there must be something wrong with this guy. I think what it was with Jim was he was such a good guy off the bench, and a lot of teams couldn't afford to keep that sixth or seventh guy, because of salary or whatever. So they just looked at Jim Barnett and thought, well, he's expendable, but somebody's going to take him.
Yeah, because he's good trading material.
With not only good trading material, but he makes your bench that much stronger. He was the number one guy off the bench.
Yeah.
So there you go.
There you go. Okay, we got a couple of minutes before a break. Baseball season started.
I know. I can't believe it. I was at the A's opener the other night. They lost, of course, to the White Sox, but it was really fun to be back out at the ballpark and just feel the atmosphere and watch the tradition and just feel the different vibe. When you go to a opening day or opening night in the major leagues, it's almost like going to the playoffs. It really is. There's a tradition involved. There's the renewal of a game that has been around for so many years, and I think unlike any other sport, Edward, it is deeply embedded into our culture. Probably because not only has it been around so long, but just the games themselves. Every day there's a game for the next 6-7 months. Every day.
Well, the nice thing for me about baseball is that the tradition of the game hasn't changed that much.
It hasn't.
There's been little nuances and stuff.
Well, the uniforms, and the ballparks and the salaries, obviously, but the way the game is played, it really hasn't changed that much. No, I mean, the only thing that's different today, as opposed to say 30 years ago, relief specialists, and very few pitchers back in the day, and I say pre-1980s, used to have 4-man staffs and guys. It was traditional for guys to pitch full games, and you'd have guys with Juan Marichal, for instance, one year had 36 complete games. 36.
Yes.
Now today it's maybe
36 starts.
Well, I mean, maybe a guy will have, the best in the league might have 10 complete games or maybe 8 complete games. But, people are so afraid of a pitcher having his arm fall off that they're going to limit him, the best ones especially, to 7 innings, 8 innings, maybe maximum.
Yeah, so it's not really the quote, the pitcher's fault, because he could be, leading 2-1.
I wonder, though, I have to say, Edward, I wonder if some of these arm injuries aren't the result of just not having these pitchers work their arms enough. Because I don't remember pitchers having this many, injuries to their arms and shoulders and elbows as they did, back in the day.
Yeah, that's true. There weren't too many of the Tommy John surgeries.
But maybe it was in those days the guys pitched with a lot more pain. They had no choice because they had no guaranteed contracts. I don't know.
That's a very good point.
Good topic for a conversation sometime down the road here.
Yeah, we'll have to get Fritz Peterson back on.
Yeah, get Fritz on him. Yeah, definitely. All right.
All right. So we're going to ask another trivia question.
Oh, okay.
Again, different trivia.
Okay.
So what did we start off with?
No, you start off with Tim Tebow, and then
the Olympics.
Olympics in the Philippines. They won a single medal.
They have not won a single gold medal.
A single gold medal. But still, 20 Olympics?
20 Summer Olympics. So that's 80.
80 years.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Poor guys.
Where's the Summer Olympics this year?
In Rio, isn't it?
Oh, that's right, of course.
Yeah.
Rio de Janeiro.
Well, you almost caught me off guard on that one.
I was trying to think. I couldn't think.
All right. So, what sport does the phrase "winning hands down" come from, and what does it mean?
That's a good one.
Okay. The first email with the correct answer is going to win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Again, we want to remind people that they do charge a $100 cleaning fee, if you win the prize, because they got to cover the housekeeping expenses. We all know how that works. So email edward@sportsecon101.com the answer to that question. So again, here's the question: what sport does the phrase "winning hands down" come from, and what does it mean? So you got to give us what does it mean too. So stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. We come back, we're going to have some closing comments and some thoughts for the day. Don't touch that dial.
Thoughts for the day.
Thoughts for the day.
Thoughts for the day. Hey, look, it came out. That's good.
Yeah, you did a good job.
Good job.
I've heard if you spill red wine, you know what'll take it out?
What's that?
White wine.
Really?
But if you spill white wine on, don't try taking it out with red wine.
Oh my gosh.
Jim was great.
Yeah, Jim's always good. And he was more than happy. Notice how he didn't complain at
No,
all.
exactly.
No.
I think we just asked him, and because he doesn't want to stop when he's in the middle of a story too.
I sent this picture to my wife this morning. I said, "This is the kind of view you get when you go out to Rodeo Beach."
Is she going to join you sometime?
What's that?
Is she going to join you?
In the water?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Come on, give her
It's like 50 degrees out there. Oh,
Right.
no, she would never do it.
I know Eva doesn't like cold water.
Yeah, no, it's very cold. Today I had to get out after only about an hour 20 because my fingers were literally, they were hurting, or not hurting, but they were just stiff. The water is about 50 degrees. It's really clear, super clear right now because there's all this upwelling, which is a really good thing for the ocean's health. It lifts all the nutrients off the bottom, so all the fish at the top just eat like crazy, and everybody's happy. Yeah, our little area here around the Bay Area, outside of the Golden Gate, is probably one of the healthiest fisheries in the world.
Ecosystem.
Despite the fact you have a lot of traffic going through.
Yeah. I wonder why it's extra cold.
Well, it's right now. The reason it's cold is, as I said, it's called upwelling.
Yeah.
Water from the deep depths is coming up, and
I
it's
gotcha.
bringing with it all of these nutrients. And I'm not sure exactly why that happens. If it's something to do with the winds or the currents, but it's a periodical thing that happens.
Interesting. Yeah,
And
fishies are happy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the fish are happy.
Oh shoot! Hold on a second.
What's better? You got a phone call?
Hey, Zach. Oh hi, Riley. Yeah, hi. Yeah. Shoot, I've got just a quick minute. Is Zach around? Oh, okay. Okay. Yes, it is. Okay. Yes, it was. Yes, it is. It's a state enter. Zach came to the house and he replaced something, and it seemed to work for a while. And then we looked at it a couple days ago, and boom, there it showed up again. Not sure why. And he knows how to get to the backyard. You just kind of go through the gate and through the driveway. So I don't even need to really necessarily be there if he wants to take a look at it. Thanks. That'd be great. Gotcha. Okay. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay. My solar is having issues.
Here's what it looked like today. Kind of small, but nice little waves.
So that's perfect.
Yeah.
How I can't tell from the break to the shore.
It's probably, how far away is it? Maybe 50 yards, 50 and a half
That's
yards.
good.
Yeah, you know, you get a little,
little
Rodeo Beach gets ways closer
Yeah,
than
that-
the other,
that's-
yeah, much closer, so you don't have to swim very far.
All right, we're going to finish this off, and John's not coming in.
No.
I figured
No.
that's-
We'll get him on the phone. John Kingdon. Not Kingdom, but Kingdon.
That's right, my king done for a horse.
My Kingdon for a horse. There you go. We should have to say that to John.
Yeah.
My Kingdon for
I'm
a
sure he
horse.
gets that a lot.
Oh,
Okay, here we
he
go.
probably does.
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host.
Don't ever say last time to an older guy.
Yeah, that's right. Like I said, if I wake up without a toe tag, I'm happy. So
Yeah, there you go.
I'll be Edward Brown all day today.
There you go.
This is our last segment for the show.
Okay.
All right. So
But not our last segment ever.
No.
Okay.
Because we're going to be recording another show soon for
Yes.
next week.
There we go.
Here's our third trivia question. What sport does the phrase winning hands down come from, and what does it mean?
I think it's something to do with horse racing.
It is.
And hands down means that you were in front from start to finish.
You know, that's what I would have thought too.
Yeah.
But no, okay, so it does come from horse racing.
Right.
And it's a jockey who won a race without whipping his horse or pulling back the reins.
Oh, that's the kind of horse you want to be
Yeah.
on. You don't have to sit there and whack him.
Yeah,
You'll
really,
go.
I know.
Yeah.
When would you ever pull back the reins if you're in a horse race?
I don't think you will.
Oh,
You know who
yeah.
was that? You know who was that way? Was Secretariat. I remember watching him in the Triple Crown, and I don't remember his jockey, and I can't remember who it was. It was somebody famous. Ever having to whip him because he. And the thing was, when he died. He lived a long life.
Yeah.
They did an autopsy on him, and his heart was actually twice the size of a normal horse heart. Which shows you one of the reasons why he was such a good runner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. It's funny because an enlarged heart for us is not good.
No,
Maybe
but for a horse,
it's probably
man, different
okay.
story. Yeah.
All right, so here's our thoughts for the day. If Michael Phelps were a country, he'd rank number 35 on the all-time Olympic medal list, ahead of 97 nations.
Interesting.
Is that weird?
Yeah.
And three-time Cy Young winner Clayton Kershaw. If we're
Still hasn't been in the World Series, by the way.
Not yet, but if he were to break Young's record of 511 wins,
Ain't gonna happen.
it can happen, but he'd need to stay at his current pace for the next 41 years.
Nobody is going to break Cy Young's 511 total wins record. Nobody.
I can't imagine.
Nobody. That guy pitched till he was 47.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
not just that, but all the complete games.
Oh my God! Yeah, you're talking about complete games. He probably had
Okay, the most, yeah.
40 a season. Yeah. I mean, every time he went out there, he threw a complete game.
Sometimes you had to throw a doubleheader.
My name is Cy Young. Real name is Denton Young, but they
Short
shortened it up to Cy
Well,
because I was like a cyclone.
Cyclone, that's right. There
Yeah,
you go.
there
All
you
right,
go.
tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and giving away more free vacations.
I like this free
For
vacation.
answering sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown, and we'll see you next week.
Good night, America.
So long. Good.
I stole that from
All
Greg
right,
Williams.
let me stop this bad
Stop.
boy and stop it.
Stop this bad
Stop
boy.
it. Stop it.
So John